All right, welcome in. I'm gonna just flip off for a minute. I was not ready for this. I wasn't ready. Okie dokie, welcome in. Okay, I think we're okay. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, however you self-identify. This is take 4 of my attempt to shoot a sample video for utilizing Microsoft Flight Simulator as an educational tool for indigenous territory viewing. Today we're going to have a talk about the 5 different Mississauga nations that are out there. Mississauga First Nation, where the Mississauga River is. Mississaugas of the Credit, near Toronto, Ontario. Mississaugas of Curve Lake. Mississaugas of Hiawatha. Mississaugas of Alderville. And the Mississaugas of Scugog Island. Now, we're not going to visit all of them today. However, we are going to be visiting over the Mississauga River, the first one that we mentioned. Now, we are going to fire up these engines. I am going to change view. And this was the issue on the last videos. I was being drowned out by some of the exterior noises. So now that I'm going to have a better idea, let's get this on the road this way. Let's give a little bit more audio for that. I think we're okay now though. I really do. So welcome in everybody. Let's say, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, however you self-identify. We are lifted off, heading up. I've gotten better at this as a flying simulator. I started off video game streaming just to kind of get the attention of the youth. This is what they like watching, video gamers. Why not get back into it? That was a problem. Trying to speak and that guy was talking over me. That wasn't cool. So I'm just flying through to my different markers. Yeah, bro. Got my brother in the chat on the live stream right now. This is just it's a good thing though. It's a good thing. Let's get a test video going on my tablet so I can see what's happening. So our first stop is going to be Chiblo Lake. My little brother wants me to do some stunt flying right now. He's not aware that I'm doing an educational video for just talking about our territory, the Mississaugas. This is the part of the traditional lands for the Mississaugas. And we are all one nation. Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Curve Lake, the Credit, and Mississauga River. Now, as we fly to these markers I've laid out, it's going to bring us to each point. Ba, 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 ba. So, Chiblo Lake is the first stop. I made a note and checklist of what I'm going to talk about. This way I keep it on track. I'm not going to go wild all over the place. It's all good though, bro. I appreciate you coming in and checking it out. This adds to the content, and that's the whole idea of having the live streams going. It allows for people to ask questions along the way. Keeping the video uploaded and archived so that other people will be able to access it later on as well. That's a great thing. Now, Chiblo Lake is one of our utilized lakes for fishing as well as recreational purposes. It's a very deep, very cold lake. Inland, there's lots of water around our territory, and Chiblo Lake is the northernmost border for Mississauga First Nation reserve I come from, and I can kind of see it right in front of me there. It's just off on the horizon. So my brother is just mentioning that there is good lake trout in there, and he's absolutely right. That is the place where I caught my first whitefish. Very deep bottom water feeding fish. It's way down at the bottom of a deep, deep lake. Now, as I cruise over it, it's kind of right here. Absolutely, that's what one of the points that I wanted to make about the lake is it's a cool lake because of how deep it is. So that marker that I placed is right in the strait that connects Big Chiblo and Little Chiblo. And where Little Chiblo sits is where we have a camp lodge, camping center. It's not a center like what is seen in southern Ontario mostly. It's a very just rustic place. They do have cabins. There's places for campers to hook up. Our family name has a street in there somewhere, it sounds like. I'm not 100%. That place has expanded since I've left. We will do a just flyby right over the campgrounds. I did try and pick the fastest plane that I could because I'm really watching my time crunch. As these videos are meant to be, what's the time frame? This is just a test sample. People can check it out, see what I do. It will be left on YouTube for a little while once it's up and running. And we're just going to bring back a little bit of this audio here. So this is it. We're right over Chiblo Lake, and that would be our northern border for Mississauga First Nation, the Mississauga River. So all down and along there. And as I was saying, I'm going to just bring the plane down for a little bit of a closer look. Mind the sound effects of the game. And we are a bit of a nice altitude to have a peek at the lodge. Chiblo Lake Lodge is just in the bay across us here now. The one that's kind of built up. Everything is nice and green. That area is all campground. We're going to fly over that and then make our way to the Mississauga River. Mississauga River. So Chiblo Lake, lake trout, and whitefish. Let's remember that, because I would like that to be part of, well, yeah, I'm going to go by the village after, bro, and I'll let you know. People told me that when they were watching me do the simulator game. They're going to look for me outside. So that campground that we just passed, that's Chiblo Lake Lodge. And whitefish and lake trout inside of that lake that we just passed, both of them. Big Chiblo, little Chiblo. Now, we are going to speed up a little bit. I want to have to just make a quick little note of that. I like being able to put this data in. Lake trout and whitefish. And there's two more fish that I'm going to name out of the river. Couple of river fish once we get to the Mississauga River. And there it is. There's the Mississauga River. So the river that has that S kind of shape right in front of us, that is the Mississauga River. The township is Iron Bridge. If you care to look at it on Google Maps, that bridge is Iron Bridge. That is the Iron Bridge. And it would absolutely be clearly visible from Google Maps, Google Earth. This Iron Bridge was a landmark for the Trans-Canada Highway. And it still is today, I imagine. Crossing the Mississauga River. So we're going to follow the river all the way down, and we're hitting the markers following the flight plan that I've set. And the next one ahead of me is just following the river right down to the lake. Now, sturgeon, that was the big one. My brother has already named the one fish that, one of the fish that I was going to talk about. Sturgeon. That is absolutely a staple that our people used from time immemorial all the way to up to now. I've harvested sturgeon myself so I could sell to get things that I needed. When I was young, there wasn't enough work in our small community, so my cousins, my friends and I, when we needed to, we always knew we could harvest a little bit of fish and go and, trade it for goods like money or even services. Sometimes we needed help working on stuff like projects at the home, and you could trade it. People still do that today. And another fish that is less, it's been reduced, the numbers of this fish have been reduced, are the pickerel or walleye. That was another major staple that was harvested out of this river from time immemorial. The sturgeon numbers have been in decline, but they're still there and we still harvest them. Pickerel numbers have declined a great deal from what they have been in the past, where the harvest was just immense, to lucky to get a few a year now out of this river. So remember those fish, walleye or pickerel. and sturgeon. That's what we used. Those were the staples out of the river here. Now, if anybody can remember, I named the staples that we used out of Chibla Lake, harvested there regularly and still today are. Yeah, just an idea for people to be able to look back at that stuff, check it out. I know I said the last, so we'll say it a few more times on the river here, the sturgeon and lake walleye or pickerel. And real nice to look out the river that I used to fish and kind of fly at it from a whole different angle, whole different perspective, whole different view. Now, the other thing that I wanted to look at was how many river outlets does this Mississauga have? And the river outlets start over here, because there's going to be a split. The river is going to break up into several different channels. And I would like to count them all. I know what they are already, but we're just going to look ourselves. As you can see, the river goes around that bend there. I wanted to turn. It's a bit of a sharp turn if you try and follow it, even in a car. So I see a river outlet over here. There is a dam, but going on to Pierce Island. So that one is one for sure. Two. 3. Oh, and this one is a split one here. So there is a 4th river outlet. And now, this is called French Bay. All of this region is part of what's called the Mississauga Delta, Mississauga Delta. I'm not 100% on that, but it's been used for time immemorial for a lot of different things, harvesting wild rice, harvesting fish, and it was also a part of the migration trails. Not French Bay itself, but the Mississauga River. So our people would be using this river for transportation as well as fishing. It was a trade network. And now I'm going to fly us right over the village. This square block here is Camco Uranium Refinery. I believe it's the largest uranium refinery in North America. From here, we're just going to follow this road up through our village. This is Mississauga First Nation. Right in front of us is a key point, a key shopping center, a gas station. A lot of the community kind of goes to, the 24-hour center. That's the band office, kind of administrative buildings. That is our education and community halls. Going over our Elders Care Center here. And then the community subdivision. There's quite a bit of nice little housing here. There's a daycare center, going over it. Quite a bit to our community. I feel blessed to come from a community like that, that has so many different amenities. And I'm just going to keep this going. Straight ahead is the powwow grounds. You can see that little bit of a field in front of us here. Not that big brown field, the green one. It's almost right in front of us now. So this bridge connects the roads to the powwow grounds. And there they are right there. You can kind of see them. It's right there. That small structure is part of the absolutely part of our powwow grounds, community gathering point for ceremonies. One of them. So that is it. That was Mississauga First Nation. As well as talking a little bit about the different Mississaugas that are all connected together as one nation. That's the Mississaugas of the Credit near Toronto, Mississauga River, the one that we just flew over, Mississaugas of Hiawatha, the Mississaugas of Scugog Island, Mississaugas of Curve Lake, and the Mississaugas of Elderville. They are all part of our nation. When we flew over Chiblo Lake, we seen Chiblo Lake Lodge, the campground that was there. The two types of fish that you can get out of Chiblo Lake are whitefish and lake trout. From that point, we went down to the Mississauga River, sorry, more specific. The Mississauga River is known for catching sturgeon and walleye or pickerel. That Mississauga Riverway was used for a lot of different things over generations, time immemorial. I believe from this point we could create links. Just talk a little bit about the sample itself now. That would be the educational portion. The idea of putting in links to still photos and stuff like that, other videos of on the ground. For example, Chiblo Lake Lodge, when we went over that place, we could incorporate having a link to Chiblo Lake Lodge, so you'd be able to stop the video, check out pictures of Chiblo Lake Lodge itself, look at cabins, even use Google Maps or Google Earth. Street View has been through our community, and I'm pretty sure it's been through all of the Mississaugas. So you would be able to use Street View as a means of like getting a grounds eye perspective of any of these places that we visit. And then we can incorporate specific information. It doesn't just have to be, I mean, this was an idea of what I could do. Total sample. It was completed in approximately 23 minutes, and then this landing time. So, really trying to get me to go around that way. I set the marker so I would land in line. The benefits of doing the archival is it'll be accessible at any time. Benefits of the live stream are what happened as my brother entered in. We were able to talk about different things that I didn't actually plan out. Impromptu questions that lead to other information and data that can be shared. I'm just gonna bring this plane in for an approach landing and call it a short broadcast day. I'll likely make another video later on. I've done a little bit of work on some things today. Okay. camera. I would like to thank everybody who did hang out and watch today, my regulars. I'm going to turn this off so I can upload it into YouTube ASAP. I gotta say, this has been the smoothest landing I've done on this so far. Cool. That was a smooth landing. Again, I would like to thank everybody for hanging out with me today. I'm just gonna park this, and that will be a day. Not bad. I did it within 25 minutes, which is a reasonable time for instructors to catch things on the video that they would like and keep it within one class. If it's a longer class, there's ways we could stretch that out as well. Not a bad show, though. Not a bad show. Oh, that must be where I'm supposed to park. Okay, well, that's it. Everything's turned off. Time to turn the stream off. Everybody who is watching the VOD, thank you for checking on sample videos I'm making. My live stream audience, check back in